All right, everybody. Welcome to the first episode or episode 0 of Total Podcast, our Total Podcast, Total Overdose Podcast. It's a premier pop culture podcast. My name is Dan, also known as BrutalPoodle, and with me today is
Brian, also known as Salvo or even BlueSalvo.
yeah. How you doing today, man? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here.
All right, so we're gonna just do like a little bit of introduction about ourselves. Favorite, just favorite games, movies, and stuff like that. And so I'll go ahead and I'll kick it off. One of my all-time favorite video game franchises, to me, something that I always go back to, is the Borderlands franchise. I've played that since the first one. I remember, back then that it wasn't even that well known of a property. First one was kind of a gamble, big gamble. Did you play the first one when it came out, or were you one of the late bloomers on that?
I was an early comer to Borderlands. In fact, I remember an old what was it called? The GameStop's magazine.
Game Informer?
Yeah, Game Informer. Like back before they changed to the comic book art style, they had a cover story on Borderlands.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like realistic. The art style originally was super realistic.
Yeah, and they did. And I've been following it since then. I'm getting a little echo.
Are you getting an echo?
Yeah, I'm hearing my voice back a little bit.
Oh, I'm not hearing that.
Aren't you? Oh well. Well, that
maybe
I just don't know where it's coming through.
I don't know. Technical glitches, episode 0. Yeah. You may hear some echoes.
We can edit that out.
But no, yeah, they kept I think the only thing they kept though from the original art style was the lady that popped up.
Oh, you know what? Oh, I think that was that was on my end.
The echo was on your end?
Yeah, because I had Banana was still open on my end.
Banana.
I minimized it. I didn't close it. Okay.
Banana for scale.
Yeah, Banana for scale. Okay.
But yeah, no, wasn't that the only thing that they kept though? Was the lady that she pop up? For the life of me, I can't remember the ghost.
No, because they kept the characters. They looked similar to the way they looked at the end, but yeah, they were just a more realistic style, and the car was the same too.
Well, I'm not necessarily in terms of keeping characters, but I'm saying of the original art style, the original lady that popped up and like talked to you, I felt was like from the original trailer.
That might have been.
Could be wrong. Yeah. But I mean, Borderlands is just always going to have like a special place in my heart. I mean, I don't know. There's just something special about it. Like it just doesn't. It aged very well. Like, and it's funny to me because I've been playing through Borderlands 1 again as of like yesterday. I started playing it again, and I was gonna bring this up to you. I think last night or the last time we played something together, and it was funny to me because it's so much more difficult than Borderlands 2 or Borderlands the pre-sequel. But if fast forward a few years, you had a whole bunch of games that were giving you mini maps and all this other stuff to kind of hold your hand and everything. And then in the recent days, you've had was basically the new Ubisoft games, Assassin's Creed Origins and Far Cry 5, that got rid of the mini map and gave you like a little compass. And they're getting praised for that, and that was Borderlands 1 back in the day.
Well, yeah, that was even Skyrim, too.
Yeah,
remember the outcry?
Skyrim? Yeah.
For not having a mini-map, it was just a crappy compass. I can't use this. I need a mini-map to find out where I'm going.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and it's just, it's funny to me because it stood out to me because of all the Far Cry 5 praise that's going on with the fact that it's just that Skyrim compass or whatever. And so having recently played Far Cry 5 and going back to Borderlands 1, it's like, we've always had this. We've always had this, and you gave this game crap for it back in the day, but now you're going to praise the new hotness or whatever, because they, and then acting like it's innovative when it really it's not.
Yeah.
But what about you, man? What's one of your favorite franchises?
Well, there's so many of them, but mostly like the games that I keep going back to. There's almost two series. One of them is the Monkey Island games,
Monkey
old
Island.
point and click adventures. It seems like annually or semi-annually, I'll go back and play through those games just because they're so well written. The comedy timing in them is great.
Oh, definitely. And I got to ask though, which one is your favorite?
It's got to be the original, and I think it's mostly for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah,
because it was the first one I played. Actually, it was the first game I played on the Sega CD.
I think I played the first one on PC. I think that was my original foray into adventure gaming. Was definitely Monkey Island or Loom.
Yeah. My first in the adventure gaming was the first Maniac Mansion.
Never got to play that one.
But but Monkey Island, it was a game that I had gotten with the Sega CD for that Christmas. So it was not only was the first game, it was the only game I had for a while because the Sega CD was not cheap.
No, well, I mean, game systems back then just in general weren't cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, going back then, I never had the Sega CD. I did have the Sega Genesis, and we only ended up getting the Sega Genesis because of the fact that me and my brother both got chicken pox at the same time. And my parents were like, "This will distract them from scratching themselves." And for my brother, it was probably 2 to 3 weeks or whatever that he enjoyed playing the Sega. But for me, it became like this lifelong just kind of passion. Like I recognized it as an art form back then, and just absolutely fell in love with games because of the Sega Genesis. And I mean, God, I don't even remember how much. It was probably like $600 for the Sega Genesis back then.
Yeah. That's right, and that's like 1990s dollars too. That's I bet you it would be easily like $1,000 today if you converted it. That's just spitballing. Yeah. But I would not be surprised to find out, like with inflation and stuff, that the Genesis in 1993 or 4 when it came out would be $1,000.
Oh
in
yeah,
today's money.
Maybe even more. But now you can get all those games on your phone and.
Well,
they're doing the mini like you can get these at Target on the end cap like for $50 and it's loaded with all of the classic games that you knew and loved, and I want one.
Yeah, Sega officially announced Mini Mega Drive in Japan, which was the Japanese for the Genesis was the Mega Drive.
Yeah. That I don't think that'll come stateside though.
No,
more than likely
probably not.
But so okay, going back to your Monkey Island, did you see? I think mine was Curse. Curse of Monkey Island. I really enjoyed that one because of the art style.
Yeah,
it was a hand-drawn animation,
hand-animated one. Yeah,
and that just kind of brought it more to life for me. But all of them have been great, and I'm surprised Telltale hasn't done another after they did Tales. Yeah, Tales of Monkey Island was pretty good.
I think a lot of that has to do with the LucasArts acquisition by Disney.
No, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. I wonder if that means Disney will be making a Monkey Island movie. Disney, if you ever hear this.
Well,
Monkey Island movie or show.
Actually, there's quite a bit of a rumor that like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one was aped off. A lot of that was aped off of a script that was being shopped around for a Monkey Island movie.
I'd never heard that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just humor.
Rumors or wishful thinking, but yeah.
That does explain some of the humor that was in that.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to get so frustrated though with Monkey Island. I was not good at solving some of those puzzles. And was it the second one had the hint line that you could find in game that you?
All of them actually had the hint line, and boy was that a dirty trick. $5 a minute to get the solution.
Okay, well let me ask you this then. So back then, how much money did you spend?
None. I figured it out on my own.
Because that was back before Google walkthroughs or anything like that. Like, you couldn't just look up, like, how do I get past?
A lot of it was brainstorming with friends. It was like, oh my god, I'm stuck on this one part, and we would go through and, well, I tried this and this didn't work, and it was that was the internet back then. That's how you solved games.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I mean, and I would say that's one of the negatives with gaming nowadays is it's no longer a couch activity. It's
that, and when you're stuck, there's no like trying a creative solution for most people. It's just, let's check out Google and see what the solution is. And to be honest, I've been guilty of that too.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older and your time becomes more valuable. Like, I miss like spending 6 hours trying to figure out how to get past this one part, but you know what? I gotta go cook dinner in 20 minutes, so right? And I kind of want to get past this. Or
look, game, I'm an adult. I do not have time for your puzzle shenanigans. Just let me get past. Like, just give me a token. Give me a token to skip the puzzles. Can I just
told
have
my
a
girlfriend
difficulty?
I'd be 15 minutes, and I don't want her to start without me. So we're getting past this, so I can get to the save point and move on with my life.
I'm not gonna lie. I was guilty of it last night with playing Borderlands the pre-sequel. I was playing last night. And it turned out that it wasn't like There was a locked chest, or it was behind like an electrical barrier, and I had to. There was 3 panels that I had to like gravity slam or butt slam and activate, and I thought I was doing something wrong. Turned out that like I had found all the panels, but it was glitched out. And so I ended up going and doing like a YouTube video and like going, what am I doing wrong? Is there something I'm missing? And then, like, in the video, the person said something like, yeah, and if it's not working, just leave the area and come back, because it's probably glitched. And sure enough, it was.
That's the paradox with that as well, because as games have become more complicated, more bugs have been introduced. So half the time you don't know am I doing this wrong, or is this just a bug?
Yeah.
And I would be really mad if I had spent 6 hours trying to figure something out, and then I walk away from it and then come back and then try it again. And what I had done the first time of that 6 hours of work is what actually opened up that next area. It just happened to be it was bugged.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Well, so, and I mean that just goes into a whole other, can of worms of we're now in a. Games aren't finished when they come out. They get finished over a period of time after the initial release.
Yep.
But that's an episode for another day where we can complain about that. But going into the next phase of this, favorite movies, movie franchises. For me growing up, I always had a fondness for, Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones. Jurassic Park more so because I think it was the first movie I ever saw in theater. I was the ripe old age of 5 when that movie came out, and I should not have gone and seen it in theaters. It terrified me.
I can see that.
I was, for a long time after after watching Jurassic Park, that raptor scene in the kitchen and them opening doors, I cocooned. I started cocooning at a very young age in bed and staring at my door, waiting to see, is the handle going to move because there's a velociraptor after me. But that fear also helped me love it more, and I'm so happy that they're making movies again. Looking forward to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom so much, as bad as it's probably going to be, but I love every single movie. What about you, man? What are your favorite movie franchises? Or what do you hold dear to your heart?
Well, see, I could take the easy route and say Star Wars, because that seems to be like one of the go-to answers. But I think I'm going to be a little bit contrary, and I think I'm going to go with the Star Trek series. I think I've enjoyed more over the years than Star Wars movies.
You're talking the original Star Trek, not the new
Well, even the J.J. Abrams stuff, it wasn't bad. I mean, it really wasn't. The second one was questionable in its methods, but I mean, Beyond actually felt more like an original, like the original 9 movies than
And Beyond was
first of the
the third one?
Yeah, not Into Darkness, the Beyond.
Yeah.
Was the third one.
I think I only saw like half of it.
Yeah.
Not that it was bad or anything. I think it was just something that was like on TV and I had to go, and I just was like, I'll go back to it later because it's on like every streaming service.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But more than anything, it's the original.
Oh, okay.
So, not so much the Next Generation movies. I think they kind of lost their way a little bit in the early 2000s with the Patrick Stewart movies, turn them into action schlock as opposed to thoughtful science fiction.
And see, I had a bad experience with Star Trek. You know, I had a friend in high school that tried to, because I grew up, you know, Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, as well as Star Wars, and I like Star Wars as well, but I wouldn't list it as like one of my favorites. But as being as much of a Star Wars fan as I was, I had a friend in high school that was like, "What do you mean you've never seen Star Trek?" And I was like, "I've never seen Star Trek. Like, I've never seen it. Like, never really had the desire to, because like I have A New Hope, I have Empire Strikes Back, I have Return of the Jedi. Like, I have these."
And also age range. Like, growing up, it was like the Deep Space Nine Voyager years.
Yeah.
For you.
Well, and what he ended up doing, and this is the bad experience, he goes, "Well, we're gonna start with the first Star Trek movie."
Oh yeah, so motion picture is hard to watch if you're not prepared for it.
And I remember sitting there, I felt like forever.
It is a slow movie. It moves very slow.
We hadn't even gotten to the movie yet. There's like a 15-minute Windows screensaver of just space at the beginning of that movie coming towards the camera. And I remember sitting there going, "Well, let fast forward, man. Let's get to the movie." And he was like, "No, this is part of the experience." And I was just like, "Well, then the experience sucks because I'm bored."
Yeah, that's a bad movie. If you've never seen any of the Star Trek movies, the movie you really need to start off with is Wrath of Khan.
And that is what everybody has said. Like, when I tell them, like, "Yeah, I'm not," this was, when I explain to them, like, this was my experience, every single Star Trek fan just kind of winces and goes, "Ooh." Yeah, they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. The big problem with Star Trek the Motion Picture is it was originally supposed to, the original script, it was a 2-hour pilot for a new television series that got transformed into a script.
Well, and I would say another issue of trying to throw somebody in with like the motion picture or whatever is like, I have no idea what anything is. No. And so like, here's all these characters, all these like alien races and everything, and it's just like, I'm supposed to understand immediately like what's going on, and I'm just like,
yeah, that's the downfall of a long-running series. Is there's what is it? A tendency for the filmmakers to lean on the other movies in the franchise to do the backstory, to do the filler, and that kind of can kill the movie for the uninitiated. I think that's part of the reason
I fell under uninitiated for sure.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the reason why the current Marvel movies do so well, because even though it helps to have seen the other movies, you don't have to have seen them.
Well, they shot them in a way that's like just
they're mostly they're standalone. Like take Thor Ragnarok, for instance. They don't explain how Hulk got to that planet. It's just Thor mentions that everybody's been looking for you. And they didn't explain how he got to the planet, and then there he is. They didn't go through like a little 20-minute exposition thing where Hulk tells story of how crash on planet.
And they very way easily you just did that, though, I would have probably enjoyed that. Yeah. not like a 20-minute him talking like that, but like maybe like a 2-minute, like, Hulk smash, Hulk crash, Hulk smash again.
Yeah,
like Hulk Gladiator now. Like that would have been great.
Yeah, but you don't need to have seen any of the other Thor movies or seen any of the
wouldn't
Avengers
even recommend
movies.
watching any of the other Thor movies. As far as I'm concerned, Thor Ragnarok is really the only one you need to watch.
Yeah,
and
1 and 2 weren't bad.
They weren't. Well, 1 was not. He wasn't Thor until like the last 10 minutes.
Let's be honest. Even the worst of the Marvel movies
are still better
than anything
that
DC has done in theaters.
I knew right where you were going with that.
But yeah.
But if you guys didn't catch what he said, better than anything they've done in theaters.
Yeah.
Like,
I love the TV. I love the CW stuff.
Yeah, the CW stuff is great. CW stuff is absolutely fantastic. Like I can't get over how well DC does with their television shows and how poorly Marvel does.
Yeah.
Like the only Marvel show that I actually like is Daredevil.
I like Punisher.
I thought I was going to like Punisher. I really did. I haven't finished it. Like it was one of those things where I wasn't compelled to finish it. Like I want to say that I got halfway through and it, Netflix popped up with like play next episode and I was like, nah.
Yeah. But yeah, Warner Brothers, they need to lean in to their success in TV and they need to get Superman and they need to get Batman on the CW. Movies be damned. You can have the movie versions and you can have the TV versions and they will just be fine separate.
Well, and that just brings up what they should
need to
do
get their A tier on TV.
With Gotham. Gotham should just do a time jump to Batman Year One.
Well, because if you look at the technology that's in Gotham, anyways, it looks like the frickin' 90s.
Yeah,
all the cars and the telephones and the computers and shit. It looks like it's taking place in the 90s. Like time jump 15 years,
and there you go.
Bruce Wayne comes back, and then Batman shows up.
Batman Year One, and then, I heard, I haven't seen anything, or I don't even know if it's airing, but I heard that there is a Superman show. Or something called Krypton.
Yeah, Krypton. That's on Sci-Fi Channel, and Superman has shown up on the Supergirl show.
Yeah.
But Superman either needs his own show, or they need to do like a Justice League television show where like once or twice a season, Superman and Batman show up to help the Justice League.
I'd be down.
But they need to be confirmed for their continuity, and they need like an Infinity Stone thing happening where they combine all the worlds, so Supergirl can show up more often in the Flash world, and vice versa.
But I'm sure that there's definitely some behind the scenes licensing or whatever that's kind of difficult to pull.
Yeah, because I think CBS still technically owns Supergirl.
I thought she was on a fully affiliated now with CW. I thought it was on CW.
I'm not. I know that since it's on the CW, but it's really weird. I don't know if they're like licensing her from CBS because it was on CBS and it wasn't making enough money on CBS, so it moved over to the CW.
But I know that one of the things for me is like DC's got so many good shows. And I haven't watched Black Lightning yet, but Black Lightning's out now. And I heard good things. Haven't watched it, but with the fact that they've got
so far.
They've got Arrow, they've got The Flash, they've got Supergirl, they got DC's Legends of Tomorrow, and it was already hard enough to keep up with the crossover episodes with those four. Now they've added Black Lightning. If they add more. Like, because I was watching, I forget which one I was watching, but it was like part one of a crossover with all of them. And it was, continued on Arrow, then you go and you watch the one on Arrow, and it's like continued on Supergirl, and then it was continued on Legends of Tomorrow, and then it was just like, that instead of doing like
plan is actually to sunset some of their shows. So like, I think they're winding down Arrow.
Okay.
So really, the only way you're ever going to see Arrow is when he like shows up on the other shows.
Well,
and I think a lot of that has to do with the contracts that they have with the leads of the show. Because you get to a certain point, and these leads can demand so much money that they can't afford to do the show anymore.
Yeah. Well, but see where I'm going with it is get rid of the crossover episodes and just have it be a crossover movie event. To where it's not this massive 4-parter mixed in, where...
Well, what they need to do is they need to morph Legends of Tomorrow into the Justice League and just turn that into your crossover.
Well, and Legends of Tomorrow...
What you do is you have a core cast of like 3 or 4 different heroes that are continuously in the Justice League. And then each week, each like little storyline, you have like a little 2 or 3 part storyline within each season, and that's when a Batman or a Green Arrow or a Flash show up to help.
Yeah.
The rest of the Justice League. And I think that would work better off. Just essentially, you have your crossover show that has, this week, for the next 2 weeks, you're going to have Arrow and the Flash working together with Cyborg and Raven and, essentially bring in the Teen Titans and have them be the core of the Justice League. And then you have the big name heroes come in to help out on a story arc.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, so, okay, but the thing that's funny to me, so Legends of Tomorrow, you heard who's coming back.
Constantine?
That is... Dude...
he's already shown up in...
He showed up in Arrow. Didn't he show up in... I think he's already showed up in Legends of Tomorrow as well. But
yeah,
I'm saying, like, I can't remember his name. Is it like Matt Walsh, I think is his name, who played Constantine in the failed Constantine show that was absolutely... is great. I loved it. It is so much better than that Keanu...
Nobody watched it because it was on NBC.
But, like, yeah... But
he also does the voice of Constantine in the Dark Justice League animation.
Well, and they're giving him an animated show. My point is, like, this show that failed, this guy's portrayal of Constantine was so good that I mean, there was a huge kind of like a fan demand or whatever where they were trying to don't cancel this show. Give it one more season, because this is a great show and we really like his, we like this guy's version of Constantine. It's better than Keanu Reeves' version of Constantine. That like 2 years after cancellation, he showed up somewhere else and it was like this special event. Hey, Constantine's coming back. Well, now they're giving him, so he's going to be a series regular on Legends of Tomorrow. He's going to become one of the legends. And I'm going to be interested to see how they incorporate him. But he's also getting his own animated series as well. That I think is technically going to be part of the Arrowverse. Like, I think the animated series is going to be part of the Arrowverse.
Well, yeah. They did that with Vixen, who's on Legends of Tomorrow. She had her own little animated web series that you could go on, like, CW Seed. I think it's still there to watch. And, yeah. And I think that's a smart way for them to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's great that we're gonna get to see more of his version of Constantine. Like the 12 or 13 episodes that they made weren't enough. Like that was one of my favorite comic books, and so like I really liked the Keanu Reeves movie up until his portrayal, and then I was like, wow. Way to make me not like this movie anymore, man. Like, I don't, you did so well. And I mean, you honestly look like him. Like, like with Keanu, it was just kind of like this, Hollywood's going to take some, liberties and everything. And
because they always do. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, then like that could be a whole nother episode as well there. Yeah. But man, so, let's see. My topic list is pinging games. Okay, so I already said what games I'm currently playing with Borderlands and everything. What about you, man? What have you been up to? What have you been up to gaming wise?
Well, Wildlands, Ghost Recon Wildlands. They had a free weekend, so I picked that up for cheap. I had played it in the beta. At the time, just didn't have the cash to pick it up. It was good, just not good enough to pick up for $60 at the time.
Hardly any game is worth picking up for $60.
Yeah. So I picked it up for like $25, $26 this weekend. So I've been playing that. I've been playing a little bit Wild Star,
Wild Star.
Wild, almost in Wildland again.
You're just having a wild week. Wildlands, Wild Star.
Yep.
I can't think of another game with wild in it. Otherwise, I'd throw it out there as a joke. But
Sea of Thieves, I've been playing on and off. Really should be playing that more to make the Xbox Game Pass worth it. But it's only $10.
I should be playing that more as well.
It's a fun game. I enjoy it. It's just there's so much other stuff going on.
There's so
games to play, shows to watch, stuff to
do. Going back to shows, I'm still trying to get through Lost in Space, the new Lost in Space.
I got halfway through the first episode and then I got called away from my computer and I haven't had a chance to go back yet.
It's good. I'm literally, I think, at episode. I've watched 4 episodes, so I'm on episode 5 of 10, and I'm enjoying it. It's a lot better than that Joey Tribbiani mess that we got back in the 90s.
So what else are you watching?
What else am I watching?
Yeah, segue.
Segue. Eureka. I've gone back to Eureka.
Yeah.
Like they pop that up on Man, I don't even watch really new stuff anymore though. Like I just cycle through old favorites. Like
I just recently went through the most of Stargate SG-1. I kind of lost interest with the later Sci-Fi Channel seasons where Ben Browder and what's her name from Farscape? Erin Soon. That's not the actress's name. That's her character's name. But when they show up to replace MacGyver, it kind of dropped off a little bit interest wise, and then I picked up South Park again.
They replaced
I'm like 10 seasons in the South Park.
Oh, I mean, speaking of MacGyver, I mean, Hollywood just run out of ideas that they're bringing back old shows. Like, I mean, it's not. We're cutting edge here. We're talking about a show that premiered like 2 years ago, MacGyver.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, freaking.
Well, hell, we're talking about show like Eureka. That ended like a decade ago.
but the point is like Eureka doesn't have like they're not rebooting it. Like,
that's true.
Like, I'm just saying, like, MacGyver, like, that was already a show. Like,
yeah.
And now it's a show again, but new, with a guy with long hair. And, like, whatever. It sucked. I didn't like it. CBS,
the original MacGyver had a hockey haircut. He had long hair, so.
Yeah, but this is, like, surfer haircut. And, I mean, I don't think you can call it a haircut. Like, you need one. Like... But I don't know, like I mean, Lethal Weapon, like, you know, that ended up actually being good.
Movie series into a TV show. That's ever popular, just like Westworld.
Yeah,
which I haven't gotten around to watching yet.
Me either. It's so the only HBO show. Segue again, because this is on the list. The only HBO show that I've actually watched recently is Barry, and that's really good. If you have not watched Barry, watch Barry.
Yes, I'm enjoying Barry greatly.
Like, the most surprising thing to me with Barry so far is how great Henry Winkler is. Like, Henry Winkler's always been great, but how great he is in that role of, like, the acting coach. And it actually shocked me to hear him cuss. Like,
yeah.
Like, when he dropped the F-bomb in one of those episodes, I was like, whoa, really? Oh, yeah, this is HBO. Like,
yeah, it is. It's HBO.
Yeah, but, like, Bill Hader just impressed the heck out of me in that. So far. Like, I'm an episode behind. There's, 4 or 5 episodes. The 5th episode is getting ready to air.
The fifth episode comes out on the 22nd, or it's released on HBO now on the 22nd, whatever the voodoo is behind that.
Yeah. But no, you know what? I will let you, since you're actually, if you don't know what Barry is, here's what Barry is. Salvo, go ahead, take it away.
Barry is Bill Hader. He plays a former Marine who is a hitman, but he doesn't seem like the personality type to be a hitman. He's very trod upon and almost like weak-willed and easily manipulated.
Very easily manipulated by Bill Dauterive.
Stephen Root's character.
Bill Dauterive.
It's Stephen Root, which is great. The cast is just amazing in it. So you've got Bill Hader and Stephen Root and
Henry Winkler.
Henry Winkler and what is the?
I can pull it up here.
The detective's name.
Let's see.
She's way down on the list. Where?
Right? Like, oh man. I mean,
Paula
even
Newsome.
Yeah, she's way down. Paula Newsome, and Detective Loach, John Piricello is so good. Like he's so. Yeah. It's a dark comedy. It is. It is a very dark comedy, but it is so good.
With graphic violence, there is graphic violence in it as well. Well, graphic aftermath.
Yes, graphic aftermath is the best way to put it. But Anthony Carrigan's NoHo Hank, is so funny. like he cracks me up every time he's on screen because
his delivery is
so great, and he's playing like this bad guy who's just so nice,
just the nicest guy in the world, but Chechen monster that will.
He cracked me up when he was just like, you really disappointed me, but let's move past it. Like, you can't do the hit. You can't do the hit until something's delivered. Why? Because it's
I'm trying not to ruin some of the great moments in it, but
you gotta watch it. If anything, for Anthony Carrigan's NoHo Hank is. I mean,
they're only a half hour a piece. Yeah. So there's not a whole lot of time to invest per episode, like you get with a Game of Thrones or Westworld, where that can be an hour or more a piece.
Yeah. And the truth is, I was really disappointed with the fact that I ended up getting, what is it? I watched the 3 episodes. Before, obviously there's a 4th episode out now, but when I watched the 3 episodes, I watched them back to back, and I was disappointed that there's only 3.
Yeah.
Because they were so short.
Because last night I watched 4 of them, and then there was a 5th one on there, and I clicked it, and it's why isn't it playing? And I didn't notice a little coming soon in the little corner of the thumbnail.
Yeah.
It took me 3 or 4 clicks of it not starting up to get me to realize that it wasn't ready to go yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's a sign of a good show when you're disappointed when you're binge watching it. You're like, there's not more, but I want more. More now, please. More Bill Hader. More Bill Hader being a hitman who wants to be an actor.
Well, not only wants to be an actor, he wants to be his own person. He's tired of Stephen Root's character telling him how to run his life. He just wants to.
Well, and see, I don't even think with Stephen Root's character, I don't think Stephen Root necessarily wants him to.
Well, no, because
he's not doing it maliciously.
I think Stephen Root's character is actively manipulating. He's a manipulator. He is.
You're getting manipulation.
He's making lots of money off of Barry. And he doesn't want that money to go away. He's exploiting Barry's naivete.
You're an episode ahead of me. You're an episode ahead of me. So, for me, what I've seen from his character is, there's definitely some subtle manipulation in what I've seen, but more of a, what I've taken away from it is, let's just get this done, and then we can talk about,
Well, that is a classic manipulator's
true, but I don't know. I just none of it has seemed malicious, and that just goes to Stephen Root's talent. To me, there seems to be more of a father figure kind of role in him.
I think you're also bringing a little of the Bill Dauterive into it too. That does help. That he's good at playing the sympathetic character.
I can't. I'm not gonna give it away, but Was it? I think it was episode 2. What happened at the end when he was on the balcony?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
okay.
great.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. Barry, HBO, fantastic show, really good show. Man, like I'm glad that it's already gotten renewed for a second season. Like, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be really good to see Bill Hader get some more acting roles outside of just voice acting. You know, he does a lot of the voice acting and stuff. But so moving on, moving on. Don't have a natural segue from Barry to the next topic, but you know, you did earlier talk about Star Wars and everybody's default. You know, you went different, but you know, we just recently got the story trailer for Star Wars Solo film, Han Solo Star Wars film, whatever the crap the title is. Like, it's a dumb title.
Well, let's talk about that first. The insert name, a Star Wars story, is probably the worst titling convention ever.
I can't even remember what it's called.
Yeah, they could have just called it. Instead of a Star Wars,
they could have just
story,
called it Han.
or it could have been like Star Wars : Solo, or Han Solo, or Han. It doesn't need to be
Han, a solo Star Wars story.
Yeah. For some reason, they have to remind us that this is a Star Wars movie, but it's not part of the main canon, but it's not part of the main story, which is really, really stupid because Rogue One, a Star Wars story, fucking bookended with A New Hope. It's like literally the end of Rogue One led you into A New Hope.
Which I liked that.
Well, I like that, but that defeats the purpose of changing the naming convention because it's not part of the main saga. But it is part of the main saga because all
the characters are a part. Well, not Rogue One. Spoiler alert.
Well, no, because Princess Leia, CGI creepy Leia shows up.
She wasn't a main character in Rogue One.
That's true. But you got Han Solo.
A weird Uncanny Valley cameo.
Yeah.
But no, like I mean, I don't even know if I've been excited for this.
Because of Rogue One wasn't horrible, but it had its issues. So that kind of turned me off. Like,
so before The Last Jedi, I thought, and now granted it's not a wide array of films to choose from, but before Last Jedi I was like, Rogue One is the best of the new films. Because I didn't, and this is kind of like my own personal thing of when I first saw Force Awakens, I think is what it was called, the episode 7.
Yeah.
I remember immediately being turned off by the humor, and you know,
because it felt out of place.
Oh, for me, 100% out of place. Like, I remember sitting there in the theater, and you know, you've got, you know, big new baddie Kylo Ren comes down, and we didn't even get introduced to the guy long enough to really know his name, but you know, Poe Dameron was talking to old dude in the village, and the old dude in the village gets struck down by Kylo Ren.
I would like to call that it's the Guardian of the Galaxy effect. It's every sci-fi action space movie now has to be Guardians of the Galaxy because that was successful. So you need your protagonist to be wisecracking.
So we're along the same lines, because I like how I've described it is a very Disney Marvel sense of humor. You know, like everything's got to have that sarcasm, that, you know, dry wit, quick wit, and so like it turned me off immediately of Force Awakens when, you know, you got Poe Dameron who was just talking to this guy, and he gets struck down by Kylo Ren, and Poe Dameron gets, you know, dragged right in front of him, and he immediately starts cracking jokes. And so for me, it was just like very out of place for everything that Star Wars has ever been for me. Because let's face it, like, I mean, yes, there have been moments in the original trilogy as well as.
Well, there've been the lighthearted.
I'll acknowledge the existence of the prequels, but there's been lighthearted comedic moments here and there. Like, one that just kind of sticks out to me from the original trilogy is Han Solo, you know, on the recorder or whatever, on the communicator, saying like, we're fine down here. How are you?
Well,
and that was just kind of like
even on the desert skiff in Jedi. So it's like, so how are things doing? Same as always. Ooh, that bad, huh?
Yeah. And so there
it
was
wasn't goofy,
humor,
but it was just an offhand comment that was somewhat humorous to break the dramatic tension a little bit.
Yeah,
that was fine.
And so, like, I remembered, being in the theater and being like, what's going on here?
I'm afraid Solo might go that direction too much. The thing is it either needs to go all comedy or it needs to go action adventure with some lighthearted humor in it.
Well, and I mean,
it needs to pick a tone. And my fear with Solo is that it changed directors midstream. Like to the point
who was originally supposed to be directing? I don't even know who directed it at this point.
It was I don't remember who the original directors of Solo were, but they were going like the comedy route. They were going.
I'm looking. I'm looking up right now just to see who the director is now. Like, or was the Ron Howard?
Yeah, Ron Howard stepped in to finish it off, but it was Phil
it was
Lord
Lego
and
Dudes.
Chris Miller. Yeah, the Lego Movie guys were doing it, and they were. I think they were going the more lighthearted route.
Yeah, and I mean, I can kind of get it.
That's not what the studio wanted with Solo. I think they wanted because he was a smuggler before. They wanted a hard boiled.
So, like, I'm just gonna point this out. We don't want a comedy, but let's cast Woody Harrelson and Donald Glover.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And I mean, I don't know the name. Like, he's not a household name yet, I would say. This Alden, I don't even know how to say his last name.
Renrick, the Norwegian last name.
the guy that's playing Han, he was really good in Hail Caesar, and he was funny in that. So, but once again, like, okay, you don't want to make a comedy, but you've got all these people that are like known for kind of being funny in their career so far. And I mean, oh wow, looking at the cast, Jon Favreau is apparently in it. But I don't know. Like, it's not a movie that I asked for. Not a movie I want.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would like tell stories that take place in the Star Wars universe that doesn't have main characters from the original. I don't have to recognize like the spaceship they're flying in or any other characters.
Well, and I think
you can tell interesting stories in this universe. It's big.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that's going to end up being a big issue for Solo, at least for those of us that are older, we already saw a young Han Solo in the original trilogy.
Yeah, Harrison Ford was in his early 30s.
Like,
he was young when he did.
And
so,
like,
and actually, that's one of my big beefs is where in the timeline is this? So if Han Solo is, let's say, 25, 26 years old,
okay,
in Solo, and he's like 32, 33 in A New Hope, that's like 5-year span. How did the Millennium Falcon go from like new off the factory floor to like the biggest hunk of shit in the galaxy in that 5-year span? Like the interior is all grubby and worn out and ripped and torn and blackened, and the outer hull is missing big chunks.
Yeah, because they show in the trailer like it's shiny. It's
shiny. It's new. Like the little gap in between the little front pylons of the ship. That's actually got something there.
I think they also showed that it's Lando's.
Yeah, well, that was inferred in Empire that he won.
Well, no. I'm not saying that's keeping with the canon, but I'm saying like this is not Han Solo's Millennium Falcon in the movie. this is Lando's Millennium Falcon. So it's got to be somewhere in that time frame talking about where does it fall that Solo takes it from Lando.
Yeah.
Like that's that, and and going back to the humor, they already showed off. Majority of the stuff in the trailer was comedy. Yeah. Chewbacca doing.
But I would be really, really irked if they try to bookend this and say, "All right, we've got the Millennium Falcon now. Let's go to Tatooine." It's like, oh, you guys.
I'm predicting now. That's exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be like the last 20 minutes of the movie are going to be, haha, I won your ship. Let's go do the Kessel Run. Now we go to Tatooine. Yay.
Yay. Let's go hang out in the hive of scum and villainy. And
let's go to Tatooine and hope we don't run into any Force users.
No, because he doesn't even know about the Force at that point.
He knows about it. He just doesn't care about it.
Hopefully we don't run into any, Hopefully we don't run into any kind of like recent orphans. Like I don't have time for that. Like, no blonde orphans that have a penchant for killing small animals. Like we don't.
That's what a serial killer does.
It's good. That's gonna 100% be what it is.
Oh yeah, I know.
They're gonna try to figure out how to bookend it and make it a part of like okay. And oh god, I hate the name. Like
Solo.
I think I gotta keep Solo a Star Wars story. Like, and them having that a Star Wars story means anything that they're ever going to make is going to be labeled, even if it's so set far apart from any of the canon, like core, whatever you want to freaking call it. Everything like Coruscant, a Star Wars show. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I used to think that it was a good. I sound so defeated right now. I remember. Yourself. I'm not even. I'm sad. Sad's more. I got a smile on my face right now, but like, because it's just so. Damn it! Like, I'm emotional. When Disney bought out Star Wars, and I was like, this is so good. Getting George Lucas away from this is the best thing that could ever happen. And now it's more one of those things where I'm just like, it's kind of like politics, usually you regret who you vote for.
Well,
like
it's buyer's remorse.
I cast my vote. And hindsight's 2020. Maybe we were better off without more Star Wars. Like maybe asking for more was a mistake.
Well, because if you look back at it, a lot of the expanded universe was trash.
I know.
There was good parts of it. Like you had the Timothy Zahn stuff that was great, but along with that, you also had like horrible books and comics and stuff. Yeah. So I think Star Wars just works best as like a small encapsulated single trilogy, and then be done with it. It's like Ghostbusters. I think Ghostbusters in and of itself is a perfect movie. It didn't need a sequel, and like the second Ghostbusters movie was kind of
Statue
bad.
of Liberty.
Yeah,
that they controlled with a remote control car. What was it that they used?
It was an NES joystick.
Yeah,
it had a special name, and I don't remember what it was. It wasn't the power pad. That was the mat thing you threw on the ground.
The Mystery of the Ooze. Oh wait, no, that's a totally different movie.
Yeah. But yeah, sometimes not every movie needs a sequel. Not every movie needs a connected universe. Sometimes, you can have a single movie by itself and have it be good.
Yeah. And you know what? The way that you just said that, I think is a good stopping point, because guess what? Not everything needs a sequel, but this podcast is getting them. You didn't ask for them, but you're getting them.
Babble more for an hour.
Right? Like, I mean, we had so much more that we were going to talk about, but like, obviously there's some of this stuff that we're more passionate about than others.
Yeah, maybe we need 2 podcasts. We need a movie podcast and we need a game podcast.
Right? Like, I mean, that's why this is episode 0. This is episode 0 for a reason. We're going to learn what works, what doesn't. And I think today we learned that it's really freaking hard to segue between the two.
Yeah, well, we'll get better as we
get
go.
better. You just got to bear with us. But this has been the first episode, or episode 0, or the origin, however you want to call it, of Total Overdose Podcast. I am Dan, otherwise known as BrutalPoodle, or you can just call me Brutal. I answer to any of them. With Brian, also known as Salvo, or BlueSalvo. And we appreciate you listening, and look forward to more sessions. Anything you want to add, Salvo?
No, I think that all says it.
That about does it. That about wraps it up. All right. Until next time, try not to overdose. Bye, everybody.